Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It's your girl Big Legs, and welcome back to the Life of Legs. How y'all doing? You good? You ate today? Good. I'm glad. I'm good. Life is okay. Like, I feel a lot better after my last episode because I got down to like some deeper feelings and I got to let things out. And then I went over what I let out in my journal. Like, I just kept going, right? Then the next day, I talked to my therapist because, like I told y'all, I missed on girl, and I talked to her, and we had a very, very good conversation yesterday. And I shared with her what I wrote in my journal because she said something about me being in survival mode, and I was like, well, funny you said that. I kind of wrote something about that in my journal last night, and then I read it to her, and she was like, you solved your problem. And I was like, huh, strange. So basically, my problem was that I had this ongoing pattern of experiences and mentality that every good thing is followed by a bad thing, right? And so whenever you're feeling good about life, tragedy is gonna strike, right? So to prevent tragedy and to avoid it altogether, I just don't feel good, if that makes sense. I was just self-sabotaging myself, and that was doing me no good. But I mean, I had to figure out where that mentality came from. What actually was the mentality I was repeating? What was the pattern I was repeating? And now I have to figure out what to do with that pattern, right? And so with that, I just need patience, right? Because in order to want something good, I have to, like, you know how they say when you look good, you feel good, right? So I have to put myself in a position internally, externally, however, to feel good, look good, so that I can receive good things, if that makes sense. Because if I'm just not caring about how I look and not caring about how I feel, what's going on with me, like thoughts are just running around in my head, I can't really function at my best. And in this time, I need to function at my best. At all times, I need to function at my best, right? But what I really wanted to talk about today was God, right? And I don't know if you're religious or not, if you believe in God or whoever, okay? I'm not trying to force any kind of religion onto you, right? I'm just talking about my experience, right? Because I have a lot of variety, I'll say. Because a little background on me, I grew up in church. Like, I went to church with my grandma, got ready Sunday morning. My grandma would cook breakfast, right? Start cooking dinner, have dinner, prepped. Then we'll go to church. She was an usher in the church. And we would come home. She would finish cooking. Family would come over, but they would already be there, right? But church was an ongoing thing. And when my grandma passed, like the church that we went to, I had never seen that church so packed before in my life until her funeral, right? And so, keep going to church. I don't really see the church being as packed. But I've been baptized twice when I was 14. Like, so my body just kept walking up to the altar. And I decided to get baptized. And the second time, pretty much the same thing. Like, I just wanted to give God my all, right? Because he saved me out of a situation, and I was just wanting to choose the right path. And I just wanted to make sure that God was on my side while I choose this right path for my life. So I got baptized when I was 16, and I would go to church every Sunday. When I was in college, I was there for a good time and not a long time, so I eventually just stopped going to church. And I definitely struggled. Like, now that I'm looking back at it, I struggled because I didn't know what to do sometimes. Like, I would be studying late at night, crying my eyes out because I can't figure out the math, because that's what I like. Well, my major was math, so I was doing all this math homework and it was stressing me out. Like, I was tired. Like, it was gonna take me out. And I eventually just had to change my major, and I just kept changing my major. Didn't know what to do, and I would pray here and there, but God really wasn't on my mind during that time. So life just kept happening. sometimes I was living my best life, sometimes I wasn't. And when I just, dedicated myself back to God the first time after that, it was very fleeting and very kind of manipulative, I would say, because I was going back to God because He saved me from, something. And I was just like, you know what? I love you, and the next man I sleep with is going to be my husband. That's just it. That's all. And it didn't really work that way, right? And I just, I guess, forgot about God again, right? And then in November of I want to say 2022, right? It's 2024 now. Like, I'm still, my mind just can't wrap itself around it being 2024. I don't know why. Anywho, 2022 November, I just, said, God, I don't know what to do. I'm tired. I give up. It's your turn, right? You got it. You got it, big dog. And I started reading the Bible. I started watching sermons, people's lives on TikTok that were doing Bible study and this, that, and the third. Just, immersing myself in the world of Jesus, okay? And as I was reading the Bible and observing, right? Because I didn't want to prescribe to just anyone's religion, because religion has rules. It's a system that's based on a faith. And I don't have faith in that system. I have faith in God, right? So I was just there for the Bible study, for, the content or the deeper revelations of the Bible that they had. So I was learning and paying attention and noticing that God isn't a punishing God. He's not here to punish us. He's not here to make us suffer, make us hit rock bottom. He's here to just help. Okay, we could have avoided this had we just put God in the equation in the first place, but I wasn't. So that's how I got myself in the situation that I was in. I wasn't really, conversing with God on things. I was just doing what I wanted to do. And me relinquishing that control over to God, I just had to trust in the process and just continue to grow as a person, so that whenever God decides to open a door, right, bring in a new opportunity, I'm at my best. I can function at my fullest capacity in that moment, right? Because every day I'm meant to grow. Every day that God wakes me up, it's a chance for me to better myself and do better than I did yesterday. Because obviously my job isn't finished. So with that being said, I had to know God for myself, not through religion. And there's nothing wrong with religion. You do you, I'ma do me, right? I still go to church sometimes. It's a culture, it's a community, to say the least. But I'm not into forcing anything or trying to influence you into trusting the creator of the universe, right? That's up to you if you want to do that. I'm just here to say that when I started trusting in the creator of the universe, which is God, right? And trusting that He sent His son Jesus to die on a cross and raise back up a couple days later. And, I believe it happened. I've seen stranger things. So I just have to exercise my faith in what God can do with me, right? Because I'm not just meant to be dormant. I'm not just meant to suffer. Because at one point I did. I was deleting my tweets the other day, and I came across a tweet from March of 2023, and I said something on the lines of, I didn't even care if I went to hell. Is that kind of scary? And when I read it, I was like, whoa, I said that? I felt like that? Do you know how hot hell could be? I'm not trying to feel it. I'm just going to let you know that right now. So I gotta trust that there's a heaven, right? That there's an option. And as long as I trust that God is going to love me, God is going to provide for me, God isn't going to just let my life be in vain. As long as I'm working with Him, right, then I have no choice but to succeed. God is good to me, because even at my lowest, I wasn't going hungry. And there's not that's not to say that there's not people who do go hungry, right? All I'm saying is I had to trust that God was going to provide, and I had to let him do just that, provide. And he came through every time. And I'm just thankful that whatever God wants to do with my life, I'm just glad I get to experience, because the life I've had so far, it's been kind of rocky. So I want to see the new good parts, the new bad parts, right? The new plot twists, because I love me a good plot twist. Didn't see that coming, because it makes for a good story. And I learned that from Gina Rivera, the importance of God making a story out of someone. Because I'm not here to judge anybody else's faith, but from my perception, her and Jesus was real cool. Her and God was real cool. And I love what he did with her life, because we can't predict the next step. But when you're working with God, you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I love the resilience, the strength, the fight, the good parts. When I was watching that telenovela, I was so excited every time she had a good moment. And I was crying every time she had a bad moment. And it just opened my eyes to, God's work on people. And then I started noticing other people's stories, actually taking into account what God can do with a person if you work with him. And so I just had to model that, I guess. I'm just going to work with God and what my life is supposed to be like, not trying to be like anybody else. I want to work with the God who created me as individual as I am. So that's all I wanted to share with y'all today. Love, peace, and shit increase, y'all. And don't go fucking up nobody's day. It's just not, it ain't it. Okay? I don't like that. Okay? Bye.